It's been a minute, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been so long.
How have you been?
Oh, I've been good.
Yeah.
I've been good, yeah.
Still thinking out of the box a little bit? Just to yourself or what?
My brain. Oh yeah, I know. I live with.
You live with people now,
yeah,
so you gotta
I
keep it within your own
I live
realm.
with normal people.
Yeah,
now,
you
so.
gotta put on that. Well, let's not call it a facade. We'll say put it on that second mask.
No, I just sometimes I gotta put my brain in that box, but not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I let the box stay open, but the brain stays inside.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's
like,
not
if
shut.
you're ready, if you want to ask that question, it's ready to show. But like,
Right.
it's not just gonna jump out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this will be another out of the box episode, but with my boy K Dog again,
and my boy Steve.
Oh shoot, this is about to be a wild one.
It's we've been too long since I questioned the utter existence.
We haven't been able to do it for like every Friday like we used to.
Not every Friday, not now. Now I'm always fucking everywhere.
Yeah. Are you? Maybe in another dimension.
Maybe. I mean, think about it. I am everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
All right, let's let's
let's
unravel that box then. Let's get into it. It's your boy Maui.
And your boy Waffles.
And this is Couch Surfing.
Unboxed or out of the box. I miss programming. That's the thing with me. I'm like sitting here, I'm like doing physics, doing math. I have this dumb English course, fun English course, don't get me wrong, but I had to write a paper the other day, and I felt so uncomfortable writing that paper because I chose a bullshit topic, and then I chose a bullshit critical theory to go with it, right?
Yeah.
I chose board games, trading card games. You know, I was like, because he was like, pick a topic that's interesting to you, that's obscure, that can relate to a bunch of things. I was like, tabletop games, stuff like that. Video games, board games, tabletop games, all that, right? And then he goes, now pick a critical theory. And I'm not good at free thinking. So he's like, yeah, he was queer theory, and he kept saying queer theory, and a couple other theories, but I really only remember queer theory. So I was like, okay, let's look at queer theory in Magic the Gathering. Because the first paper was, you find a book or an artifact, right? And then you, whatchamacallit, you write a review on it, right? So it would be an album or whatever, right? And then you relate it to a critical theory. So I ended up relating mine to feminist theory. And if you ever had to jump into feminist theory, a real fight hard for feminist theory within a week, ooh. And then if you really look at video games as a whole, or any game as a whole, and go like, well, look at these strong, independent women over here, right? There are only two types. You get the types that smoking hot, that you really can't, you don't want to report on because you're looking at them and you're like, yes, you're a strong, independent woman. You're also made in a very provocative image.
I was gonna say you're also wearing a bikini as armor,
right? So, and then the other type are the the bullshit like monsters that really, if you look at it, you would not associate any gender or sex to it, but they're like canonly this is female. like I googled it.
Eldrazi is a female,
right? Like I googled it. I was like reading up on it, and it's like top video game female characters that are strong women representatives.
Zero Suit Samus.
No, it's
in her bodysuit.
It was like Samus. And I was like, Samus has solid one when she's wearing the armor. You can't really tell until she takes off. Then it all makes sense.
Well, that was like the biggest game reveal at the time. It was like when you finished the Super Metroid, it was like, oh, it's a chick. Oh, what the?
You're right.
Dope, but what the fuck? It broke the video game world because
like a woman.
Yeah.
That's the big character. Wow. That's what I was trying to report on. And then I do all the searches, and in like 3 of the lists they pull up on like best women representatives of video games, the mother brain was above Samus. His mother brain was invented as a slave, broke free of her shackles, and now is trying to conquer the universe. Solid woman representative. I was like, oh no. And then I was like, okay, I'll do magic. Magic has tons of female planeswalkers. They're always heroes and warriors and kings and queens. Or queens. And then it goes, actually, if you look at the history of Magic, Magic only recently started going like, oh, equality and civil rights. We're on board with that. Because it goes like back in 2000 or like 1998 or something, right? They allowed for the printing of this card called Subjugate the People or something, where it's just, the art is just full on a horde of Ku Klux Klan members. It was like Subjugate the Evil, I believe it was called. And I was like, so this is what I have to work with, and now I get to make a documentary.
Oh yay!
Yeah, and those are my classes, and so I'm just like, I wouldn't fucking give, just have one class be like, we're gonna learn programming.
What do you think the first like subject of material ever existed?
Subject material, like first genuine
Like, what's the thing people started learning about them?
Like first thing?
Yeah.
I want to say farming.
Agriculture?
Agriculture. I feel like that was, we weren't good at it for a long time. We're still not good at it.
I mean, if you deduce it, like, you can keep deducing it. That's not a bad answer.
Yeah.
At least for modern reasons.
Well, you gotta understand, like, for me, I only say agriculture because, like, I went, what's the oldest thing I know? And I went, yeah.
Like cavemen used to draw in their caves, so like art used to be like. But that ties in with it, so yeah.
We talked about this, remember? Like the what's called the things you need to see in a species in order to claim intelligence and like all that stuff.
Oh, dude, I was thinking about that the other day. It was like it got into a little bit of solipsism. If you don't remember, do you remember what solipsism is?
I do not.
It's I think I told it to you before, maybe. Either way. So it's the idea that you are the only thing that you can truly know exists.
Oh yeah, I remember it now. Yeah.
So like I had, I just like went through a spiral a little bit, not like in a bad way, just like a little like philosophical. I went through like the philosophy, history, and all that. But I was like, dude, yeah, I can't. I had that thought. I was like, I can't trust that everyone around me exists, even though I see them, I can hear them, like they could just be figments of my imagination.
Right.
I wasn't even smoking or anything like that. I wasn't even tripping or anything. I was just like, I don't know how I got to that point. I was just playing like a game, or I don't know what I was doing. Everybody just like, hey, what about this? And I was like, oh, fuck, we're going there.
Right,
all right, lights off. Gotta fucking just think this one through.
gotta walk myself through this whole process of what is existence.
Yeah, what is it besides that fucking word that we spell?
Right, exactly. Like, it honestly, when you think about that word too, it's just like, what the fuck is like? We could put any definition on existence.
You could put any definition on any word.
Right, exactly.
Every the jumble of. I got into this too. I was like, dude, words are what we make of them. Like, if you try to listen, I tried to do this, but I was like watching. I don't know what I was watching. It was irrelevant, right? I closed my eyes and I chose like a different language to watch it in, and I was like, it just sounds like sounds. Like what the fuck? Like, because I'm not trying to translate them. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't watch Japanese because like I could pick up on
like certain words.
Phrases. Yeah. So it was like I picked like some random language that didn't sound English. I think it was either like German or like Chinese, like because I'm unfamiliar with those.
Yeah.
So I was just like, it just sounds like fucking sounds. Yeah. The sound I am, and I am like computing these sounds, and like in my brain I am making heather tales of these sounds, and we're having a conversation. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is going? Like, how did we get here? You know?
Right. Like you're just like, what? Dude, I miss this. Like, because like genuinely. It's so funny because, like, okay, since I've been up in the dorms, I've been like, I ask my roommates existential questions that you and me ask each other all the time, right? Yeah. And they go, I don't know. I'm all like, how do you not know? How have you never thought about the general existence? How do you not think about the everything that is what you experience or what is possible in life, in existence? How do you not think about that at all times? And they're just like, what difference does it make? It makes all the difference.
I do that like one thing. there's a few things I've been like, even for the past few months now, like numbers keep fucking popping out to me, like repeating numbers or like a weird sequence of numbers that just like for something like I've seen this sequence like literally 10 seconds ago. What's going on? I have those moments. I'm like, okay, everything's made up of fucking numbers. It's true. I'm like, if you put it into terms of computers, right? Binary 0, 1, 0, like 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. Like eventually you get to letters with the binary sequence. Like, holy fuck. I was like, I literally looked up like the binary letter sequences and I spelled my name out and I was like, okay. Like, I have a couple of things I have in mind with that, but like I'm just like getting to this point where I'm going crazy. Not crazy, but you know what I mean? Like I'm getting back to that like existentialism.
Yeah.
I love it, but you know what I mean?
No, I completely
I love it personally.
Yeah.
But it's not healthy outside of this household, you know? Like once I step out of that door, it's like no.
My roommates are just now learning like what kind of a crazy person I am.
Yeah.
And they're just like, and I'm all like, yeah, it just sucks because like they're like, why are you home all day? I was like, because I fucking step outside. I gotta be a person.
Right? Oh my god, that's
like, I sit. I like this place because when I'm here, you guys can't tell me what the fuck it is. Like there's nobody here. There's nobody in like my living quarters, right? That could go ahead and be like, okay, you need to be a normal person while I'm here. I was like, you don't get a fucking choice.
Yeah.
Like we're living here together. You should figure this out. So when I'm like in the dorms, I'm like off in another world. Like just what would happen if this, or how could this work, or this and this and this, right? Like the other day I'm talking to my roommate, I'm like, so he's not familiar, he's just recently getting in the anime, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like pitching all these amazing, adult animations, anime to him and stuff like that. He didn't know about Demon Slayer. And I was all like, put One Piece on hold, put whatever telenovela you're listening to, all your true crime, whatever on hold, watch Demon Slayer. Yep. And he goes, okay. And he watches the first episode. And he's like, I like it. He watches the second, third, fourth, finishes the season in a week, and I'm just like, that's right. Like, that is right. That is what good animation is. That's good television. And so I'm talking to him about Sword Art Online in the concept of it, right? The simulation of life. Yeah. Right? And I kid you not, I'm telling him about the plot of it all, and he's like, wait a second, wait, what? What are you talking about? He goes, this is an anime, right? And I was like, yes, it's an anime. He goes, oh, okay. For a second there, I thought somebody did this somewhere.
They could. We might not know. This universe, multiverse, whatever verse you want to go through, the barrel.
Right. I mean, like, honestly, you could do it. We would never notice. 10,000 souls go missing on
Well, here's the thing about that show.
But there are a bunch of people that do go missing every year.
Right. Well, here's what I was thinking about that show. Right, so like in the game, he admits that if you take the helmet off, you're gonna die. They will never know unless they take the helmet.
Right.
It's like a Schrodinger's cat.
Yeah.
Like you're in this superposition. Once you take the helmet off, you don't know if you're gonna end up back in your body and it was all just a fucking huge gamble. You know what I mean? Like
right.
But like at the same time, like again, if I'm watching you take the helmet off, I still have no idea. It's like death. Right. You know what I mean? It's like the concept of death. Takes the helmet off. Where did he go? Did he die? Like, or did he just go back to his body and like everything's cool now?
Yeah.
Because like the only thing they couldn't do was just exit the game. But if someone took the helmet off,
right?
Who would know if he does die or not?
Yeah.
Until you leave the game, like if they did, and then they find out that they do die. But
but that was only because of the fact that like they didn't even make the choice, right? People in the real world tried to take the helmets off of them when they did. That's when they realized it. But
no. But the only time we, as the audience, realized that they opened the box, Schrodinger's cat, right? When they opened that and broke the wave function, right, to see what path they'd go. Right, we didn't find out until Kirito left the game. You know what I mean? Until he beat the game and was like, oh yeah.
Oh no, yeah, you're totally right. You know what I mean? As a viewer, you're
along for the ride with this guy.
Right.
Like, okay, I don't know until he knows at this point.
Right.
And then he takes he wins, and then he can exit the game, and then he's like, all right. And then you see on the news where like
10,000, thousands
of people are died because of this game. The game
The guy who developed it killed himself in a sense, but is in the code now, so he's not really dead, but he can be.
Like, we know he uploaded himself up. We don't know how. We don't know where he is. Like,
Yeah.
all we know is his physical body is dead.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, apparently, yeah, like, but yeah, you're totally right because like during the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're only seeing what Kirito knows.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and like.
I mean, he could have literally, like, if we want to go, like, a step further into, like, dimensions or, like, universes, he could have been in one universe. Because that's how, like, that's how Schrodinger's cat works, right? Like, it's not that, like, once you break the wave function, then you're in this universe. Like, you are in this universe, but the other one still exists where the cat does die.
Right, that's where you get entanglement from and everything.
Yeah, like, in one, so, like, they both, and then you create parallels.
Right.
And it's like choices, right? Every choice you make is always... Yeah. Every time you have to make a decision or choice, there's a universe out there. This is like again speculated, but there's a universe out there that made the choice that you were contemplating, the other choice, right? So you chose one, and now you're riding that line. And in a parallel world, there's another one going the same path or going the different path that you thought, and now it diverges. And
here's my thing with this, though. Here's like the end goal. Whenever I have these thoughts, it just tells me like, okay, by this logic, right? Of entanglement, multiple realities, like, Schrodinger's cat, right? That means that theoretically there is always a possibility that any single person could just have the correct thought and it could change the world with just having that thought. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, you could just, like magic, right? Like, we all go around, we're like, either magic can only exist if we get technologically advanced to the point where it looks like magic, or magic actually exists in the context how we believe it is. We would never know until somebody either had a thought that pushed pushed technology to the point of like being able to pull off like godly feats, or actually unlock magic. And we'll never know because it's all entangled, right? So we might be in a world where we didn't figure that out yet, or we might be in a world where somebody will. All I know is, with all that information, I think we could be doing way more insanely cool shit.
I mean, it depends though. Because like, if you see like, because like, dude, you've seen so many magic animes or like even TV shows, right? That world is not pretty. So most people, except for like the people in the show or the characters, and it's not even pretty to them.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Like Black Clover is a like example because that's all magic, right?
Right.
Like outside of the main characters, everyone gets their shit mixed. Everybody, even the main characters get their shit mixed. Right. But like, you know what I mean? Like, so like, a lot of people like to be like, magic would be fucking dope, Harry Potter or whatever, you know? Like, it would be pretty cool for like a hot minute until someone just goes batshit Hitler on that shit. Right. And then now we're fighting Voldemort and we're all about to die.
Well, I mean, like, okay, but like, if people,
People always like to look on the brighter side of like unknowns.
Right.
But like, you gotta realize that just like technology, magic's that thing where it's not inherently good or evil, it's how people use it.
That's so true. You
know, like, it's like, okay, well, like, I think all the people I hang out with are good people, they wouldn't use it bad, but like, what about the guy like in fucking North Korea or fucking in, Venezuela who's fucking suffering and wants the world to suffer because he's suffering some bullshit. Some plot point bullshit.
Right, where like everything like becomes shit because somebody really wants it to be.
That was like the One Piece arc with like Doflamingo, Dressrosa.
Oh yeah.
Right, he's like I was a royal, and then my dad was like, nah, like let's be normal people and live the regular life. And then I got my shit mixed, and I went, fuck these people. Fuck everybody. I'm gonna ruin everybody's life. And he did.
That's back to that.
Right? And they're like, alright, I'm gonna put you guys in a birdcage and I'm just gonna make y'all suffer.
Right, everybody's gonna do that. But like, now that I think like...
Because he loses control though, right? He's like, I lost power. I've lost the power to control these people. Alright, fucking... Right. Let's restart this project!
Reset. I'm ready. It just... you gotta...
Then we get into like psychological things, right? People hate to give up power. You know what I mean? Like, just, then that becomes like a greed kind of thing, in a sense, right? Like, or ego, however you want to like fucking phrase it out. But like, when people get power, they don't want to lose it, right? You see that in politicians. The biggest, like, one of the, not craziest, but maybe the smartest in a sense is like decision made in the U.S. was back in 1940. right during World War II when FDR was like, okay, he served 4 terms, that's 16 years as a president.
That's fucking insane.
Huh?
You need to get your laundry.
Oh, okay.
It's in my basket.
Okay. But yeah, FDR literally was president for 4 terms. That's 16 years.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. This is a little broken. Let's make a new fucking law for this, and they did. So you can only serve 2 terms. That's why we only serve 2 terms now.
Right. Which is fair. That was actually
But yeah, because like you find someone who's like who can either manipulate the system well enough, or like it can lead to tyranny in a sense. You know.
Yeah, because giving someone that much control at all times for a long time eventually does something wrong to everybody. It's just damn. I never think about it that way. You know what I mean? I'm always like the unknown, the infinite possibilities that is the mind. We could create and have anything, and then it's like, but should we?
Well, there's also there's that dwarf star that they're thinking about the supernova called not Betelgeuse. Betelgeuse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, I'm excited to see the supernova. I can't wait till it happens. And like, the time of use for like its supposed time of it going supernova is a very wide range. It could be any day to like thousands to hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of years.
Right.
But people are like, I can't wait to see it. It's like it's in our not solar system, but it's in our galaxy.
Yeah.
Like, who knows what happens? Like, it might be exciting. We can all perish at the same time.
Like, we have no idea what's going on over there. like we have what we can predict with science, right? Like, and I've been watching a lot of what's the black science guy? I know his name. Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson. I've been watching a lot of him and like what he's been saying and everything like that. And like, if you listen to what he says, sometimes he brings up the fact that it's like, you're right, we don't know everything, right?
No.
But there's like, basically what I'm trying to say is this, right? He goes, we don't know everything. Everything we know, right, is only what we can perceive as a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. So back to our topic that we started earlier about like, intelligence and shit, right? So like, I've developed vision.
Yeah.
And if I remember in chemistry or biology, like vision's just literally like light entering your eye as a mirror and reflects.
Yeah.
So like, I used to get confused by that sometimes. I'm like, so am I seeing everything upside down and my eyes inverted, or how does it go? But that's beyond it. Now the fact that like the way I've developed vision is going to be different than how you develop vision.
Exactly.
And I will never know what you see. You know what I mean? Like, I could be doing this, and you could be seeing, like, we both can agree these are hands.
Right, yeah.
But at the same time, like, what I see as hands could be completely different than what you see.
I know, that I had that thought when I was a kid, and it fucked me up ever since. Because I was like, wait a second, so we really don't know any, like, we know things, right? We know things that operate in what we can perceive as reality.
We have come to agreements on, like, on the quote-unquote rules of the world.
Yes.
At least of our society, in our societal path, right? You go to Germany and things are going to be different there. You go to fucking Japan, things are different there.
Right.
But like in our world of the US, specifically California, in our small region, like we've created this like unwritten rules of like how to function in society.
Right, but even beyond that, right? Like we have science that basically all it says is we all can agree, right? Distance divided by speed will then be a velocity or something like that, right? And when you take that,
distance over time.
Yeah, distance over time, right? But when you take that and you really ask, okay, but what does that mean?
Right. Well, that's the thing is you could keep deducing things down to nothingness, right? Like people still have no idea how to head or tails time, in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Like not that like what the fuck's time.
But we know that we can.
We've all come to a literally world agreement that hey. This time it's going to be noon, 12 o'clock, and this time it's going to be midnight, this time it's going to be, and then we have a 24-hour clock, because the Earth spins around the sun. You know what I mean? It's like, or I mean, that takes you, but you know what I mean? Like, the rotation of the system. And it's like, okay, like, you know, what's really funny about that is, like, if there's one piece of evidence to debunk, like, anything at the root of that, everything underneath that is just up in the air.
Yeah, collapse. And that's the wildest thing about, like, we built entire civilizations on a planet that we basically, conquered every inch of. And at the end of the day, if somebody smart enough just comes along and goes, Hey guys, just want to let you know, just want to be real quick. You know this thing we call gas? If you actually just do this to it, it becomes 100% clean. Or like, you know this thing we call time? Actually, if you view the time as it affects this object with these circumstances, it does something completely different than it's supposed to. Then everything we know as a species can just be flat out useless.
Yeah, time doesn't exist unless you give it a value.
Yeah. Time, like,
you could like sleep in your room for a period of time. Right, until someone says, "Oh, dude, you've been in your room for 6 days." You wouldn't know. Right. I mean, you could lose track in a sense, right? Like people don't because we've been so bred to not believe.
We have like our own.
We've been so bred to the fact that like, oh, you see the sun come up and it goes down. That's a day. Oh, 6 times that happens. Oh, that's 6 days. You know what I mean? But like seclude yourself in like a room with no perception of anything.
Right.
And just you can't like no sunlight, no darkness besides like the flickering of the fucking a light, you know what I mean, like a house light.
Yeah.
And you can lose track of time easily.
Right. Like time effectively is just the word we gave to describe how long it takes for things to change.
Yeah.
Right? Like things. The only real constant, right?
But that's like, I mean, we learned that in math though. You know, that's delta, the term delta, right? The change, or it's not, they never used the word time, right?
Right, yeah.
They go delta, distance, right? So the distance from here to here, what's the time? What's the delta, right? What's the change? The change was 2.5
or negative.
2 claps. Okay.
we clap my hands.
And like I said, then they've standardized it. You know, now we can measure it in seconds. Now we can go to femtoseconds. Now we can go to attoseconds.
Right, and it's just like my thing. I hate what fills me with amazement of it all is like it goes cool. Yeah, in order to help everybody along, we went ahead and said we'll make it this, and we'll all call it this, and it will just be this, so everybody can really get a basic understanding. But what if we missed something? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what if we were like, time? Time is how, like, you know, for it's, how did I say it before? It was the amount of whatever we need to see something change, right?
Yeah.
So it's the observation of change and how long it takes, right? And then, but what if somebody was like, but like then they come out with gravity, right? They come out with gravity, and they're like, actually, gravity alters time. And it's like, what do you mean by that? And he goes, well, what if, I don't know what the fuck, I don't understand.
Yeah, like I was like, well, I watched a few of those videos the other day. But like the warping of gravity can warp time in a sense because space and time are correlated or they're connected. So like as you leave the Earth, right, not because of the orbit of why time changes, but because of the gravity that the space you can't occupy. You know what I mean?
I remember it now. So like what's called the gravity works as an acceleration, right? So if you take a man, right, put him on a chair that's moved side to side, right? You have him lift the light up and down, right? So like this, right? Time it takes for the reach here's not that bad. But when you start going like this, you perceive it as longer.
Mm-hmm.
But the person's supposed to be moving side to side on a chair, right? He just continues moving his hand up and down. So to him, it looks like time is just going 1, 2, 1, 2. But since we're viewing him move side to side while moving the light, it's supposed to be like 1.5, 1.5, 1.5.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it's taking a longer path to us. And that's because he's accelerating relative to us. And that's where gravity's supposed to affect time. But I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? And that is our whole existence. Like, I only have, maybe 80? I want to be generous. 90? No.
Oh, I would say 100 now. I mean, yeah. Like, you live up to 100 at this point.
Nah, I have 60 years left, actually.
I was going to say, because, like, well, dude, by the time that we hit 50, there's going to be...
The next...
Speculatively, there's going to be so many advancements in technology, unless we hit a brick wall. You know, unless, like, the aliens stop giving us shit. Yeah, like...
It's like we stopped paying rent tomorrow. They cut off our technology.
y'all failed that one test in life that we all tried to give you.
Right.
What kind you
Time for 2025 evaluation.
Yeah.
How we? Oh my god! That would be so funny to say, wouldn't it?
Yeah, just like or what is it? Yeah, like a food inspector, but like for the planet, like the mountains they got rid of the Andes. Alright. That's negative 10 points.
Like board and shit like that. Like it was.
How many species did they lose this year? It's looking like a C minus this year.
But dude, like even if it came down, we would all be like, "Wait, what were the parameters of the test again?"
Yeah.
We told your ancestors to write it down in a book. And they'd be like, "Because I believe you called it." How funny would it be if it came out like, "We told your ancestors to write this down because it's really important." I believe you guys called it the Bible.
Yeah.
How fucked would everybody feel in a moment? And like, so many people would be like, "We fucking told you, motherfuckers," and they would still be like, "No, you lose the evaluation too." But like, you know, fuck, dude. I just really want, with all the infiniteness that is life, I really want something to be a matter to something else.
So I mean, like again, we dived into these topics so many times, but
Level.
I mean all the time.
Yeah.
So like infinity, right? So the concept that like if there are infinite universes,
Right.
like this happens every single time.
Right.
You and I are having this conversation in infinite universes, and in infinite universes we're not.
Yeah.
Right. So like the term of infinity, like that's where discrete mathematics comes into play. Because like, you know, two infinities, not Buzz Lightyear, but like an infinity here and infinity here can be different because of their incrementation. Right? Like, oh, this infinity could be like to the power of 10, and this one can only just be infinity plus 1.
Right.
And this one obviously is going to be like the higher jump.
Yeah, like larger than infinity.
Yeah. Right. So like, do you ever get the thought? And I'm very guilty of this. I keep it to myself all the time. They're like, oh, like not that like it's not the cliche like you're here for a reason, but like the time period that we're here in now is like probably something really relevant.
Yeah. Right. No, like yeah.
Do you?
I feel like my thing is like we're here now. We're here at what we now think to be right the best point in history. In the life of life expectancy is it's in a dip right now.
In the potential Mobius strip of time.
Right. But like you know what I'm getting at, right? Like we have all these advances, we have all these amazing, miracles that we can now, do and stuff like that. And I would be really sad if we were at this point and they were like, well, the importance about your generation is you guys discovered, the internet. It's like, okay, what did we do with it? And they're like, oh, well, really, it went unused for several centuries until we really wrangled that thing together.
Yeah.
Like, how fucked up would that be?
Well, I just think in the terms of like again, we could have been born in any instance of time, right? I could have been born in the 1500s. I could have been born in the 700s. I could have been born in BCs. But I was born in 1997. I was born during right before the second millennium.
Yeah.
Right. That we've counted. Right.
Yeah, that we've had. Yeah.
That we can keep track of. And it's like, okay, for me, and I get to my solid system, and I'm like, okay, well, again, I only see with these eyes, I can think, I think, therefore I am, kind of shit.
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel like it's not like my destiny is gonna be great, but I'm going to witness something fucking that's gonna be historic. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm trying to be like, yeah, it's because I'm existing in this world. It's not because of my existence, but it's because I am existing and I am witnessing what I'm witnessing.
Right.
It's not that anything's stellar or anything COVID happened, the Spanish flu. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are small things. I think something big is going to happen. In my lifetime.
Yeah, a full shift.
Something you see out of a movie that's that would have never thought that would exist. How does that? Something that'll break your fucking mind.
Yeah, right, something nobody thought of. And it just happened. And that's what I really hope I see one day in the world. That would be insane, right? Because right now with the pandemic, even when the pandemic happened, everybody's like, oh, it never happened. It happened. And everybody went. Because, it sucks. People are dying. They freaked out about the death. They freaked out that something we have seen 1,000 times in 1,000 different incarnations that was fake happened in reality, and now we have to deal with it in reality. But we had seen it before. How insane would it be if something completely original, like something nobody had any idea could ever happen, would ever happen, just fucking happened?
I mean, I don't know if I was talking to Vinny about this on one of our episodes prior, but were we talking about comics in one episode? We did,
Yeah,
right?
last week
Yeah, we did.
about like the whole Green Lantern and all those like.
Yeah, so we went over a few things, but like, I forgot where I was going.
What?
Remind me
We were
what
talking
you said.
about how, like, basically, like, if something no one ever prepared for or ever even thought of actually just happened.
So that's what I was getting at. So like I was watching which was it Crisis on Infinite? No, it was Death Metal. DC Death Metal.
Yeah.
So I was looking through that, and they went through the concepts of like dimensions. Right, first dimension is plane, first plane. Second, 2 planes. Third, 3 planes. Fourth was time. We haven't figured that one out yet, technically, or like not technically.
Yeah.
We haven't figured that one out yet, so we can't really say it's the 4th dimension, but like that's what a lot of people want to allude to.
Right.
The 5th one was imagination, and then the 6th is beyond all of that. So like we'd literally be breaking into like the 6th dimension, or like you know what I mean, like something 6th dimensional would have to happen for that, because like thoughts are infinite.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Again, I don't know what's in your head, so I don't know if you think.
Right.
Right. You could not be thinking. You could be you could just be programmed this whole time.
Yeah.
So can I.
I could honestly just be someone here that'll be like, yeah.
Yeah, you could be like that Rick and Morty episode, the simulation.
Yeah. Or like,
Yes. Yeah. You could be.
Got apples.
Yeah. Hungry for apples.
Hungry for apples. Get this man a promotion.
Yeah. It was tested in the simulation.
It was tested in a very advanced.
Have you seen the 5th season of Rick and Morty?
No, I have not. I haven't. I think I watched some of it, but like I can't remember.
It's good. It's really good.
Yeah. We should watch this.
Yeah, I'm down.
Well, like where you get at?
So the 6th dimension, how we break through the 6th dimension. We got to Rick and Morty about the simulation. You could be a robot. Right, okay, so I have those thoughts all the time.
Yeah.
These people could just be like, again, this is like true solipsism right now. Like, I'm the only thing that exists. And the way I see myself and the way I see everyone else, like they see me different, they see everyone else different. If they exist in that sense, right, you could just see me as just like an ethereal being.
Right.
And I have no idea, because I see myself as flesh and blood.
Right.
That's how crazy thoughts get.
Yeah.
In a sense. That's how crazy your mind can be.
My thing with like the whole
Or radical. Let's use the word radical.
Radical, yeah.
It's not crazy.
It's not great. People have these thoughts. People think this.
So like, do you ever get the thought? And I'm very guilty of this all the time, but I keep it to myself all the time. They're like, not that like, it's not the cliche like you're here for a reason, but like the time period that we're here in now is like probably something really relevant.
Yeah. Right. No, like yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like my thing is like we're here now. We're here at what we now think to be right the best point in history. In the life of life expectancy is it's in a dip right now.
In the potential Mobius strip of time.
Right. But like. You know what I'm getting at, right? Like we have all these advances, we have all these amazing, miracles that we can now, do and stuff like that. And I would be really sad if we were at this point and they were like, well, the importance about your generation is you guys discovered, the internet. It's like, okay, what did we do with it? And they're like, oh, well, really, it went unused for several centuries until we really wrangled that thing together.
Yeah.
Like, how fucked up would that be?
Well, I just think in the terms of again, we could have been born in any instance of time, right? I could have been born in the 1500s. I could have been born in the 700s. I could have been born in the BCs. But I was born in 1997. I was born during right before the second millennium.
Yeah.
Right. That we've counted. Right.
We've had. Yeah.
That we can keep track of. And it's like, okay, for me, and I get to my solipsism, and I'm like, okay, well, like, again, I only see with these eyes, you know, I can think, you know, I think, therefore I am, kind of shit.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I feel like, it's not like my destiny is going to be great, but, like, I'm going to witness something fucking, that's going to be historic. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, it's not like I'm, like, trying to be like, yeah, it's because I'm existing in this world. Like, it's not because of my existence, but it's because I am existing and I am witnessing what I'm witnessing.
Right.
You know, it's like, not that anything's like stellar or anything like, oh, COVID happened, so did the Spanish flu. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
like those are small things. Like, I think something big is going to happen.
Like a
in my
shift.
lifetime.
Yeah, in this, like a full shift.
Like
in the
something
human
like
species.
you see out of a movie that's like,
It's
where you're like, that would have never thought that would exist. How does that? Something that'll break your fucking mind. You know
Right,
what I
like
mean?
something like nobody thought of, and it just happened. And that's what I really hope I see one day in the world. That would be insane, right? Because like right now with the pandemic, even when the pandemic happened, everybody was like, "Oh, it never happened. It never happened." And it happened, and everybody went. It was, it sucks. People are dying. They freaked out about the death. They freaked out that something we have seen 1,000 times in 1,000 different incarnations that was fake happened in reality, and now we had to deal with it in reality. But we had seen it before. How insane would it be if something completely original, like something nobody had any idea could ever happen, would ever happen, just fucking happened?
I mean, that, like, I don't know if I was talking to Vinny about this on one of our episodes prior, but were we talking about comics in one episode? We did,
Yeah,
right?
last week
Yeah, we did.
about like the whole Green Lantern and all those like.
Yeah, so we went over a few things, but like, I forgot what I was.
What?
We
We were talking about how like basically like it's something no one ever prepared for, ever even thought of, actually just happened. Yeah.
So that's what I was getting at. So like I was watching which was it Crisis on Infinite? No, it was Death Metal. DC Death Metal.
Yeah.
So I was looking through that, and they went through the concepts of like dimensions. Right, first dimension is plane. First plane. Second, 2 planes. Third, 3 planes. Fourth was time. We haven't figured that one out yet, technically, or like not technically.
Yeah.
We haven't figured that one out yet, so we can't really say it's the 4th dimension. But like that's what a lot of people want to allude to.
Right.
The 5th one was imagination, and then the 6th is beyond all of that. So like we'd literally be breaking into like the 6th dimension, or like you know what I mean? Like something 6th dimensional would have to happen for that, because like thoughts are infinite.
Yeah.
Right. Again, I don't know what's in your head, so I don't know if you think.
Right.
Right. You could not be thinking. You could be very like you could just be programmed this whole time.
Yeah.
So can I.
I
You know
could
what I mean?
I could honestly just be someone here to be like, yeah.
Yeah, you could be like that Rick and Morty episode, the simulation.
Yeah. Or like,
Yes. Yeah. You could be.
got apples.
Yeah. Hungry for apples.
Hungry for apples. Get this man a promotion.
Yeah. It was tested in the simulation.
It was such a very advanced.
Have you seen the 5th season of Rick and Morty?
No, I have not. I haven't. I think I watched some of it, but like I can't remember.
It's good. It's really good.
Yeah, we should watch this.
Yeah, I'm down.
But like, where you at?
So the 6th dimension, yeah, I would break through the 6th dimension. We got to Rick and Morty about the simulation. You could be a robot. Right, okay, so I have those thoughts all the time. Yeah, these people could just be like, again, this is like true solipsism right now. Like, I'm the only thing that exists. And the way I see myself and the way I see everyone else, like, they see me different and they see everyone else different. If they exist in that sense, right, you could just see me as just like an ethereal being.
Right.
And I have no idea, because I see myself as flesh and blood. You know, like,
Right.
that's how crazy thoughts get.
Yeah.
In a sense. Yeah, that's how crazy your mind can be.
My thing with like the whole
Or radical. Let's use the word radical.
Radical, yeah.
It's not crazy.
It's not great. People have these thoughts. People think this. But like my thing.
Even if they don't.
Well,
I do.
well, like, yeah, even if they don't, it still doesn't make it crazy. It's just like, but like, okay, so you know how you say like first, second, third dimensions, right? You get the time that you get to that. Right. I get the whole time thing, because I did a lot of things about the whole first and third dimension. But here's what fucks me up about the first and third dimension, right? And this ties into the whole thing about like existence, what we are and how do we know we're real and everything like that. When if a 4th dimensional being were to come down, they would see us as we are. right? But then we would be three-dimensional beings. They'd be a fourth-dimensional being, right? So time to them is a factor of just something they can control and manipulate, right?
Yeah, I mean
Just
they
as-
did that. Like I said, they did that in the they did that in Rick and Morty as well,
Right.
with the wrinkle in time where they literally split time.
Oh yeah. I saw that one. Yeah.
Right, and the fourth dimensional being was this dude that looked like a nutsack.
Yeah, and he had like a worm that had
Yeah,
a
worm
turn.
villain. Kyle! That's a good thing.
Yeah. The human return.
Yeah.
But so you look at that, right? And so the fourth dimensional being shows up. Now in the fourth to us, right, we could only conceptualize that he being from the fourth dimension and time being a variable in that is they're able to manipulate it, right? Because us as third dimensional beings can manipulate three dimensions, right? You know, first, second, and third plane. That's why we can do all. That's how we can move around and everything. When you add time to the mixture, right? They say the fourth dimension, right? Three-dimensional objects or fourth-dimensional objects have three-dimensional sides, right? What that really translates into is fourth-dimensional objects. If it is indeed that time is the variable that shifts. Us from third to fourth dimensional, then that means that the three-dimensional sides they have are really just an object that can move freely through time to be every three dimension it is at all times
Yeah.
at once.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Well, that's again that goes into that goes back into infinity, right?
Yeah.
Infinite timelines, infinite lives, infinite existences going out through the universes, right? Multiverse. Again, we can keep going up that ladder.
Yeah.
But in each instance, there's probably an instance where you are just a fucking chair. You know what I mean? And you wouldn't know because your whole consciousness wouldn't be unless chairs have consciousness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in that sense, you could be you could have been Vanille.
Right. I could have been that guy.
Yeah.
No, but okay. So this is what.
So then we take it down back to one universe.
Right.
Right. So now, am I looking at just me in a different universe?
Right.
That turned into Kendall, or am I looking at
Right. Or are you
does it
looking
matter?
at it differently?
Right.
But so yeah. So if you have that, right, we can conceptualize that. What makes it so we know every single two-dimensional image we have doesn't have its own universe in some way?
Oh yeah.
Right? Like what if because we create this two-dimensional world, we can view photos of it. Why? We can view the whole thing at once, right? Because in the two dimensions, we make it into a three-dimensional. We now have we can stack multiple pages up on top of it. So one frame, right, could be like a cat sitting down, right? And then it's oh, well, how do we know the cat does anything if it's just this one picture, this single two-dimensional? We don't have to worry about that. We have three dimensions. So while the cat is stuck to its two dimensions, it can move there. We can put a third one on top, and now we have both instances of the cat. The cat is either changed somewhere in its two-dimensional world, but to us in the third dimension, we see it as moving.
Yeah.
So what if that's us?
Yeah, to a fourth dimensional being.
To a fourth dimensional being? Yeah. They would look at us like we're some sort of story.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That fucks me up.
Why?
Because why the fuck? Hear me out, right? You look at the stories we create. Oh, we create pretty boring stories too, I guess. I hope I'm not one of those. That just means to a fourth dimensional being or any being higher than me, right? To a fifth dimensional being, you wouldn't even be able to tell who the fuck I was. I'd be a line to them. I'd be like a non-existent speck to
It'd be
anything
like how
higher.
birds see us from when they're flying.
What?
It's like how birds see us when they're flying.
Exactly, right? We would be just barely anything to them, right? And then you go even higher than that, we become a dot. And they look at that dot, and they would know so much, that single dot holds so much information to them, and we would look at a dot and go, ah. You put a dot here, that's one dimension, right? You're two dimensions higher than that fucking dot. What the fuck?
Well, so I did a lot of there's a Wikia page for verses, right? Universe, multiverse.
Verses and dimensions.
Yeah.
and they get into like those concepts and like, I mean, you think like a little highly of the human race in this world if you think we're just a dot. Because like when we get to the concepts of like, again, this isn't fact or anything. Like this is all lore.
Yeah.
But like you get into like
existence is lore in a sense, though.
Oh, for sure.
What is there to tell about your life except a story?
right? So yeah, once you get to like beyond the like it gets to the point where everything has like not everything, but like you get to the point where you encounter or you read about beings that have omnipotence, and then it becomes like infinity in the sense of like, oh, this being has omnipotence to the power of one.
Right.
But this one has a power to the power of two, so he's essentially stronger, right?
Right.
So it gets to that level, and then it's like, yeah, like it starts turning into, again, I always have to revert to Rick and Morty, but they fucking touch up on so many of these details. But like, you get a world full of omnipotent people, like Ricks. Yeah. They're gonna create a society where, oh, this one has omnipotence to the power of 0.5.
Yeah.
Oh, this one has omnipotence to the power of omnipotence.
Right.
This guy is king. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
And, you know, it becomes a thing of like, yeah, they don't give a fuck about humans, right?
Right.
There's another episode, and I don't want to keep referencing them, but they just make it too easy.
This is why Rick and Morty is a good show, because it lets people who have brains like ours really connect to their topic.
Yeah. So, like in one episode, and this is just a small instance, but Jerry's like, Rick at one point forgot the word for human.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because he does mention this in another episode, and it's like, oh yeah, I don't look at things and measure them by how they look or whatever. I do it by their intelligence. You guys are both pieces of shit. You guys are both just as smart as shit, so I see you guys as shit.
Right. It's like, let me mathematically prove why you were no better than a piece of shit.
I was like, how do you mathematically? I'm like, oh, that's easy. Like, if you just keep going. If Rick is like the smartest man in the universe and everything beyond him, right? He's like all the way up here. Yeah. And then like it's again going from infinity to zero, right? You can't, every time you go down, the numbers keep going up because you're counting to infinity, right? So like as you try to go lower and lower and lower, it's like, oh, here's another level of lower you have to go. Oh, you're not quite at zero yet. It's gonna take you forever before you get to zero.
Right.
The more you're here, somewhere you're here, doesn't matter where you guys are, because if you look at the big scale of things,
right.
I'm all the way up to fucking there. Zero is here, and you guys are right there. Right. You know,
like no, but that's the logic. The logic is there. Right? If whatever you deem to be beneath you to a certain degree is equally useless to you, then there you go. That's why, and like. We're gonna wrap this up, right? Because like, how long are we at right now?
40.
40? You wanna wrap it up soon?
Yeah, we can go for a few more minutes and close it out.
Alright. But that is just what I believe, like why I like to ask these questions and have these topics. Because every single thing we mentioned today just touches on how fucking random your existence is, and yet
it's
how
not
fucking precise it
and
can be.
it's not.
Right.
You know how in the beginning you started talking about how your roommates per se don't ask themselves these questions? But I feel like when you're growing up sometimes, at least me in the shower, I'd be like, what if I'm the only real thing? Or like, I feel like everyone has those like instances, maybe it's just so far in their memory that they don't like realize that they've questioned it.
It's not that, right? I can tell you this, right? So when I'm talking to Steve and we're recording, I can talk for days about how fucking random everything is and all the things that I think about to try to come to terms with the sheer, unknown that is existence. With them, I've noticed people usually, right, when they are faced with these kinds of questions, these kind of unanswerable questions, right, they just give it a simple answer.
Like a cop-out, basically.
Like they give it a simple answer, or they just kind of just go, well, I don't need to know.
I don't care. Right? Yeah, they just don't care.
They're like, at the end of the day, I still gotta get these bills paid. Right.
And that's my buddy. I'm like, oh, bills. Like, that's so menial compared to, like, existential, like, dude, like, existed.
But at least, I think, like, in the middle, he was talking about, like, meaning or, like, purpose. I think people question that a little bit more, maybe, than, like, other stuff.
Yeah, that's
when a lot of people go through, like, troubles, you know what I mean? They're like, why do I even exist if it's all suffering, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't know if I've met someone who's, like, happy-go-lucky and go, why am I existing?
Well, like, some people also say, like, what was, like, the purpose for me being here, and they try to lead that to, like, whatever they're supposed to be doing.
The problem is, like, when people do that, they get to, like, subjective territory. why do I personally exist? That's like an ego thing. Like, why do I exist? And it's like, no, not why do I exist, but why exist.
Yeah.
What is existence besides the word in the dictionary that we made up, right?
Like
we've existed before knowing what that word meant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We existed before even questioning why we're here.
Right.
We were here, and then we started.
And then you read a dictionary and you go, existence. Oh, that's what I am. I'm existence.
Right.
I'm existing.
Right.
Therefore, I have existence. Right. Like you're like right. So and then again, it got me into like this loop of letters and numbers and like, are we just like everything the dictionary, like everything that's within the dictionary and our lexicon?
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, nothing exists after 26 or Z's.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, 26 letters in the alphabet, what comes after Z? We haven't gotten that far yet. Right. You know? So, like, we barely fucking fucked around with Z and we're barely coming up with words for, like, with Z letter, or, you know what I mean? Like, buzz. I started, like, going through this whole thing and I'm like, will we get to that point where we have to, like, develop the 27th letter? Right?
I think we would have to. You know what I mean?
I'm like, okay, but I was like, and there's so many systems in place in the rules of how to create a word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, it has to be a consonant, vowel, consonant.
Right.
In some instances, it could be consonant, vowel, vowel. Okay, these consonants won't go together because CT doesn't sound like anything. You know what I mean? Like,
Right, yeah.
But then like, oh, here's an exception, Cthulhu. And like,
right. I mean, but like, okay, like Cthulhu's a prime example, right? We took something, right, that doesn't exist. We gave it a name.
Yeah, right?
We gave it a name, we gave it a whole story, we gave it what we perceive to be what its existence would be. But that still only relates to what we can understand.
Right.
And like, so when you take a full human and you ask it, what are you? It can only tell you what it knows or can understand. Right. And at the end of the day, there's so much more out there than what we can know and understand. And those things inevitably have to somehow tie into our existence as well.
Yeah.
So what the fuck is existence? You know? Like, what if there's some energy out there that we just can't detect because we detect on like a spectrum?
That still happens, right? Because like we're only able to see within a certain range of vibrational sound, and even sound, so you don't hear for certain decibels.
Yeah.
Something goes out of our decibel range, it could literally just be white noise and we just don't know.
We would never
It could
know.
literally
it could be,
and that's where like your senses come into play with me. I'm like, okay, so like I'm hearing, if I'm not able to hear this noise out of my range of hearing, like, does it exist? Right. Even though I can't perceive it.
Right.
Same with like eyesight. Like, what if I just can't see it because it's in ultraviolet or it's in some other form of wavelength? You know, I'm like, okay, does it exist even though I can't see it still?
Right.
You know, does it exist because even though I can't smell? Does it exist even though I can't touch it? And I mean, that goes into like the whole idea of like God, omniscience, and all that. And then we go back into the fourth dimension and stuff like that.
But yeah, and then it takes you right back into the circle
yeah.
that this conversation like kind of is sometimes, right?
So it feels like that, huh? Like a little maze labyrinth. Like it's like, have you seen those ones where you just go down here and then you hit a wall, then you have to go back around?
With the little ball thing?
Yeah. I mean, they've made those concepts. Well, that's like what it is. Like, literally, you're like, okay, I'm going around all these topics and I've reached the point where, well, I can use that topic to backtrack all the way back around and, well, okay, I can go back around now because I've unlocked something else and now I've unlocked another thing, but I still have to go back to the circle and like.
Right. That's like, that in fact that it is a labyrinth. Exactly. I get what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Like you're still progressing down the labyrinth, but you're still in the labyrinth talking about that is existence.
But you literally just talk the circles until you keep getting small. And I feel like once it becomes a thing though, like in this like little maze, like once you get past that first hump, like you're like, boom, and you come back around and I take time on these things.
Yeah.
Because like it's like a puzzle game, right? You hit a point where you're like, okay, I need a day. I need time to fucking just like, for whatever reason, I need a break from this, and then I can get back in.
Conceptualizing your own existence.
Same with this thing, right? Like, but like at the same time, like in the game, you don't go to level 1 again. You just like, I can just cut through everything again because I remember where I was at.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. And hopefully you're on the right path, and then maybe one day you find an answer.
Yeah.
And
Or even if you don't, the journey that you go down hopefully is a good one. You know?
I
I mean, that's for me personally, and this is subjective, but like, every time I do this and I get to those points and I'm like, no one ever asks because I don't want to bring this shit up to other people, but I'm like, if I ever had to get in that conversation of why I've wasted so many years of my life trying to figure this shit out, I enjoyed it the whole way through, so I mean, like, it wasn't time wasted for me. You know what I mean?
I 100% agree. When I moved into the dorms and they were like, "You're 24, like, what'd you do for all those years?" And I was like, "I had a good time."
Right?
Like, I had a good time. Now I'm ready to put in work, it out. But like, before then, I was like, just on a journey. You know what I mean? We're cast out into this world. The moment you hit 18, right? All of a sudden, there are all these obligations that society has for you, right? These things they want you to do, become, and you just have to figure that out on your own.
Yep.
But along that journey, you have to ask these questions like, who am I? What am I doing here? What's the whole point? You know, and then that's where you come to where we are, where you're like, what is that whole point? Because of everything, and then you eventually question, what is the unknown? And at the end of the day, all you can really say is this: I had a good time.
Yeah, right? And then once you close your eyes and you open them again, see what comes, right?
Right.
I always like freak the fuck out about sleeping. We'll wrap it up real soon.
Yeah.
But like, I used to have like those thoughts. I'm like, when I sleep, do I exist? Right? Do I exist? I don't know. It's like I'm in this other, we'll call it a dimension. I'm in this dream dimension where I can vaguely, visibly see what's going on sometimes, if that. Sometimes I don't dream.
Right.
And, you know, like, I have no consciousness going on at all, except for the sub, right? Which is usually probably dreaming. But, like, in that instance of me sleeping, like, time goes on, apparently.
Right, yeah.
But to me, it doesn't.
Right.
So I wake up, and then, like, I check the time, and it's the day has passed. Or, like, you know, the morning has, whatever.
Yeah.
Night has passed, and it's now morning.
Yeah.
But, like,
gone.
in that instance, like, I could be sleeping for, like, years on it. I could have slept a whole lifetime and just, I could have done, like, a whole cycle and woke up the day after.
Yeah.
You know, instead of, like...
My roommate comes up and goes, like, why are you like, you look, what's so fucking cool about sleeping? You close your eyes, all of a sudden, it's a different...
it's different. You literally just transported yourself. Right? You literally went through a portal of time.
Yeah.
You didn't go anywhere.
No.
But the time has passed.
Right.
So
you saw, maybe you saw some things, maybe you didn't saw some things. All you know is you put your head on a pillow, you close your eyes, shit got real weird, and the sun's up. You apparently things look the same. I don't know. Like I love this thing they do in cartoons, right? Where they're always like, yeah, the universe got destroyed, but we rebuilt it to be exactly what it was before it got destroyed, right? So nobody notices. Except for like the tiniest detail that nobody would notice.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't think about it, right? But like for all we do know, you close your eyes, the whole universe
Here's a working. On this working thought that I have, and I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
So, and DC and Marvel have touched on this. That's why I love the comics. I like the characters, don't get me wrong, but like how they world build, and then it becomes universe building, multiverse building, and then everything around it is crazy. So back to it was the predecessor for DC Death Metal.
Yeah.
That wasn't DC Metal. It was end of the world, universe, whatever. Like the whole it's again to them it's the world, but everything, literally everything.
Yeah.
But so what we find out is that like Earth has a prime. Like, if you think of numbers, prime is anything that's divisible by 1 in itself.
Yeah.
Right. So it's the first instance of that number.
Yeah.
5 and 1. Those are the only instances that happens.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, what if we live on prime Earth, right? Just like in the comics, but like we live on prime Earth.
Yeah.
Everything that's going right or wrong is the first instance of it happening. Right. So like this decision I make is the first time it's ever been like brought up.
So now world, let's just 137 is created. That's a prime number. I believe 137 is created, but we're also on Earth Prime 1.
Yeah.
Where all the other fucking things happen, including this one now. You know what I mean? Like, oh, what could have happened fucking did happen. And now, here's what happens if it went slightly different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what if we're what if that's who we are? Or that's where we're at?
I I feel like genuinely
That's
that
what.
that is
Like you gotta bring it down, you boil it down to that is what, where, when, who, why. That is it.
yeah, that is everything that could be why we're here,
Yeah.
and that decision boom,
Yeah.
right? I think we are on a prime planet. Here's why I believe that. That we have been tasked with too many decisions, right? That would have utterly changed the course of our lives. Like, it would be different if every decision we made, right, you could take it and go, okay, well, this action and this led to this action, this led to this action, this led to this action, this led to this action. You can't do that with every single decision that you have to make.
Right.
Sometimes it's just like, and just now.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, what are you doing? Like, Anthony! Oh, and over there is C. Like, what are you doing? And it just pops out of nowhere, throws it in your face. At that moment, there's no universal law or anything that we can come up with, or that I believe anybody could come up with, to really go ahead and say, oh, well, if you break down the entirety of your universe, this is all that led up to this decision.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just the law of big numbers. Sometimes some of those decisions are just randomly thrown in your face. Nobody can have anything.
Well, here's so again, we keep getting pulled into this, but
So during the Cold War, there was many instances where there could have been mutual destruction, which the world would have fucking just been over for humans, just humanity.
Yeah.
And there have been instances where it was literally down to a guy pressing a fucking button.
Yep.
And there have been counts of tales or counts of stories or recollections where someone did, but some malfunction or something didn't go off.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, what if that was the thing that would have destroyed our prime Earth, or quote unquote prime Earth? Because prime Earth doesn't exist, then nothing else does. Because everything after the prime, if one is destroyed, one doesn't exist. Everything that's divisible by one doesn't exist either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So everything after that doesn't exist.
Right.
I'm like, okay, but Earth 2, Earth 3, 4, 5 can go to shit, can go to hell.
Yeah.
But Earth 1 would be fine, right?
Right,
Because
yeah.
1 is divisible by itself.
Right.
So that could be the thing where that someone in Earth 155 or 150, a different prime number.
157.
We'll say, we'll make it easy for me. 11. Earth 11. We'll make it easy. I can't think of bigger numbers right now. I think 141.
Are they still doing that thing where they give you $10,000 if you discover a new prime number?
Yeah, because that's again, that's
I didn't know that was a thing.
it becomes a thing of computing power.
Yeah.
Right? Computers can only compute so many numbers now.
Yeah.
They're now we have to do it not by hand.
But yeah, pretty much by hand because computers haven't created enough storage to do mathematical problems with 79 digits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
80 digits of a number.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so Earth 11, someone could have pressed that button that just sent the world to the shitter. And it did go to the shitter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And now Earth 11 doesn't it exists, but it's in remission.
Right,
It's in remission.
It's now this is
Now it starts over and we start 11 all over again. See if we find somewhere else.
Right.
Oh, now Earth 22 exists where it's 11. And
It's 11, but they did press
But they figured something out that Earth 11 didn't. You know? So
it's like what? Wait, what? So what? What were you gonna say?
oh no, that was
No. So because if you I'm sorry, you broke my brain for a second. No, it's weird though. Yeah, you're right. Because you have just this completely original universe, right? It's a prime.
Yeah.
Only exists is the root. And where you are now.
yeah.
And the root still going strong. Root was because it's not whatever decision created the prime, right? Whatever random one-time decision that no other universe in the world ever had to deal with, just you, that one time, created that. It's not like it just stopped that new world. But now you're there.
Yeah.
And now you don't know what there's...
Yeah, are you? That's the crazy thing. If you're that's crazy about being the prime of Earth. Is okay, are we the prime or are we the most successful
prime, right?
Are we the most successful Earth down the lineage?
Right.
So will this decision just shit us in the ass and now we just learned that we were never the prime Earth to begin with, or
Right, Cause like,
Oh, we were that divergent that just fucked off at the very end.
right, like,
You're that guy that walked the last steps and lost the race because some dude was trying way harder than you. You know?
yeah.
Like, oh, I won this, and then you see the guy just like slip past you real quick.
You're like, oh, I'm done, I'm finally done. And then one guy's like, no! He goes, I remember
Dives to the finish. Like, oh, like you seen Squid Game? They're like that, like fucking dive to the finish. It's like,
yeah.
I should have done that too, but I guess I didn't.
I didn't, and yeah, right, because like once the last person finished, they killed everybody else.
Yeah.
He's done. No, like we would only know if we ever created a multi-dimensional traveling, right? And we did find that out. How much of a mindfuck would that be, right?
I mean, it's not. I mean, like being able to like, I don't know. You could do it in a sense in your mind,
Right.
but like physically sending your body into another dimension, like that's just like, it sounds doable, low key.
It sounds doable.
It sounds like something that can be fucking accessed. Like we can fucking figure it out. You know what I mean? Because like, if you just change the way you think about things, you enter a new dimension.
Right.
In a sense, right?
It's like now this is
Now it
like-
starts over and we start 11 all over again. See if we find somewhere else.
Right.
Oh, now Earth 22 exists where it's 11. And then
It's 11, but they didn't press
But they figured something out that Earth 11 didn't. You
Right.
know? So it's like.
It's like what? Wait, what? So what? What were you gonna say?
Oh no, that was.
Yeah, I know. So because like if you I'm sorry, you broke my brain for a second. No, it's weird though. Yeah, you're right. Because like you have just this a completely original universe, right? It's prime. Only exists is the root.
Yeah.
Where you are now.
Yeah.
And the root still going strong. Root was like, yeah, because it's not like whatever decision created the prime, right? Whatever random one-time decision that no other universe in the world ever had to deal with, just you, that one time, created that. It's not like it just stopped that new world. But now you're there.
Yeah.
And now you don't know what there's...
Yeah, are you? That's the crazy thing. If you're like, this is crazy about being the prime of Earth. Is like, you're like, okay, are we the prime or are we the most successful?
prime, right?
Are we the most successful Earth down the lineage?
Right.
So like, will this decision just shit us in the ass, and now we just learned that we were never the prime Earth to begin with, or like,
Right, like, yeah.
you know,
Because, like,
oh,
yeah.
we were that divergent that just fucked off at the very end.
Right, like,
You're that guy that walked the last steps and lost the race because some dude was trying way harder than you. You know?
yeah.
Like, oh, I won this, and then you see the guy just like slip past you real quick.
You're like, oh, I'm done, I'm finally done. And then one guy's like, no! He goes, I remember
Dives to the finish. Like, oh, like you've seen Squid Game. They're like that, like fucking dive to the finish. It's like, yeah, I should have done that too, but I guess I didn't. I guess I fucked up.
And yeah, alright, because like once the last person finished, they killed everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're done. No, like we would only know if we ever created multi-dimensional traveling, right? And we did find that out. How much of a mindfuck would that be, right?
I mean, it's not. I mean, like being able to like, I don't know. You could do it in a sense in your mind,
Right.
but like physically sending your body into another dimension, like that's just like, it sounds doable, low key.
It sounds doable.
It sounds like something that can be fucking accessed, like we can fucking figure it out. You know what I mean? Because like, if you just change the way you think about things, you enter a new dimension.
Right.
In a sense, right? Because I feel like,
Space Dandy.
is that a concept of space dandy?
Space Dandy, where there's this whole episode where he's in love. He's walking in a bar, right?
You see, you know the fourth dimensional cube, how it looks like?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like how it changes shape.
Yeah, it like kind of inverts and like
Yeah, expands and everything.
almost just like rotates itself outward and inward.
Right. So they're walking in like in the equivalent of Hooters, right? And Space Dandy sees this fourth dimensional box with a heart in it, looks at it, goes, okay, keeps walking, and his side, Meow and I can't remember the robot's name right now, but like they both just keep walking. They're like, what was up with that box? And he goes, hold on, and he backs up and he goes, Catherine, that's you, isn't it? And the box fucking talks and goes, yes.
Yeah.
Right. And so the whole point of that episode is what happened was she was a fourth dimensional being capable of traveling to third, second, and first dimensions, right? And he was a third dimensional being. They fell in love. They dated for a while. And then she asked him a very important question. Do you want me to tell you the secret of warping? He goes, no. and you don't realize what the big impact of that question is until it's too late. So at the end of the episode, because after he goes no, she breaks up with him, leaves him for this guy named Paul, who's a two-dimensional object, a two-dimensional person, the king of his universe, actually. And they do this whole, the science isn't real, but they harness the energy of a first dimension. So basically, it would be like we took a comic book, we put it in a jar, and we went, using the energy in this comic book, we're going to travel to the fourth dimension. That's what they did. So at the end of it, you realize she admits it to him. He goes, he's like, I'm still in love with you. You're the one who got away. And she goes, I know I am, to you. But for me, I have to ask you a question. Do you know the secret of warping it? And he goes, I do. And he goes, and there you go. So the secret of warping is, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right. The way it is it was just a convenient term we put on to when two objects swap universes, right? So like you and me, right now we're in this universe. Now we could have right now there could be a whole other universe just very parallel to us. Everything exactly the same. We're sitting at the same table, having the same conversation, except in this one, Wiener Schnitzel is called Wiener Dog.
Yeah.
Right. And we could swap, and we'd never know, right? Because as far as we're concerned, the moment we swap, we adopt the reality that is our new universe, which is Wiener Dog's always been called Wiener Dog.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, but for a fourth dimensional being, right? So for us, we're in the same universe. That fourth dimensional being was in all three-dimensional universes. Every single space dandy fell in love with her.
Yeah.
Well, she goes, but I didn't fall in love with you. I'm in the same universe I initially was when I first met you, right? You're in a different universe now.
Right.
And so you're no longer the space dandy that I fell in love with.
Right.
So I can't be with you. And I'm like, that's fucking insane.
A little bit.
Like,
but here's the thing, right? It's because like
it's true. Like,
in a sense, that's what I kind of believed was that like we can, if we just rewrote our minds, like and not like in the self-help book way.
Yeah.
But if we literally was just like convicted our minds to the idea that that's Wiener Dog and Kendall's not real, he's just a fucking figment of my mind, or like some shit.
Right.
It will become true to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like everybody will think I'm crazy because I think out of the status quo of like this hive mind that we've created, right? Because that's pretty much what society is a hive mind of standards.
Right.
Right? No, Kendall's real because 20 other people see him, so he has to be real.
Right.
Oh, I don't see him, so he's not real to me.
Right. And I don't know what you 20 other people are seeing. For all I know, you 20 other people don't exist.
Right, exactly. So it becomes a thing of like, so you can change, in a sense, dimensions depending on how you define dimension, right? You can change. Like, you could think of dimensions in like, oh, the first dimension is this universe as a whole. Right? Because everything residing in the universe is part of the universe. So as a whole, we are the universe. Right? As a whole. So two universes, that could be two different one dimensions, and if they bridge some way to get to each other, that's a two dimension now. Now, if they turn it into a grid, now like we realize that those two dimensions created parallels all over the place, and now it's becoming a volume of dimensions. It's three dimensions of universes. That's now a multiverse. You know, now if we get to the fourth dimension, what's the fourth dimension of the universe? Well, now the times are so interlapped. Kind of like in Loki, right? Like now it becomes like this vortex of like a fourth dimensional multiverse, you know? Like now it becomes a thing outside of, right? And that's when you go to like, oh, now it's the concept of forces in time. You know, what makes up these and you can, right? So like now, instead of thinking of dimension or universe, or sorry, one dimension as like this dot on paper, now you can like go, oh, now it's universe, or what's the whole of this thing? Oh, this is a one-dimensional thing because it's the one thing that exists. Right. My definition or my terms of dimension is existence. First off, yeah, it doesn't exist. It has no dimension to it. Right. Right.
And that's actually I'm gonna say that's a good point to end it here because that's a fact, right? At the end of the day, we came back to where we started. Your perception of existence is what puts everything into reality. Everything. And if you choose to believe a specific way, then so does your full reality. It all collapses in. But, just think about it. Just pay a little attention and you'll make changes to the world. And all
At
that.
least in your own world.
At least in your own, which is really the only world that
matters to you.
Right. And if you choose, to put, like, I like Steve, right? So if I choose to put Steve in my world,
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's exactly how it
then
goes.
his world matters to me too, because he's in my world too.
Yeah.
Alright, and on that note,
It's your boy Maui,
and your boy Waffles,
and this is Couch
Couch
Surfing.
Surfing. Peace.